Hey guys, Mike here. Oh, isn't that cool? I love the way they just bounce and hop a little bit as they're taking off. Yeah, so cool. So, wow, that was Sea Hurricane. Guess what? I have that same one right here. All right. So I'm up here in the shop today. It's Tuesday. It was raining all day long, kind of cold and windy. I didn't really feel like doing anything outside. Girlfriend's working, so I am up here in the shop. I did a couple of things. It took me a really long time to set up that damn Aileron servo. These hatches that John cut, the fellow that I bought it from, that John cut in the wings for the access were really small. And I don't have big hands, and this was just causing me to say a lot of bad words up here. But I finally got it all mounted up and working really well. The other day I bound up everything to my radio, the Free Sky tandem system. So it was really very easy to tweak, but I wanted everything set up mechanically correct. I only wanted to set the endpoints, rather finely set the endpoints rather than have mechanically. So I set it up so that it was mechanically good, and I just made it close I have about 70% throw. I'm sort of stumbling here. I'm trying to tell you that I set it up to be mechanically effective throughout the range, and then I dialed it back a little bit with the internals of the radio. So I wanted it perfectly centered at the center point or the center of trim. And I can adjust it from there, but I don't think I'm really going to need to. It's pretty darn close right now. I was able to do the same with the flap servo, and right now all I did was adjust minimum and maximum travel to get it to close well. That's about as good as it'll close because it's not perfectly even. There's a tiny bit of a warp to the flap, but I don't care about that. That's not going to make a difference. And the aileron seems to be pretty well centered. There's a tiny bit of slop in it. I've got to figure out where that is. I have a feeling it's because the hole in the internal, the hidden control horn for the aileron is slightly larger than the diameter of the pin and the Sullivan clevis. So what I think I'll do is I'll take that all apart. I will fill it with hardened epoxy, let it set real well, and then drill it back out. Hopefully that'll do it. I'm not really that concerned. I don't think it's going to make that big of a difference because generally the ailerons will be under tension one way or another and usually not sitting at neutral too much. I think I might be wrong. The other thing I did is I test installed the, look at that, it's coming in for a landing, flaps down. So cool. I test fit the landing gear and they seem to work pretty well. So let me show you what works. Ailerons. I have, and I really don't want to do this, I have about 50% expo set up only because as I don't know if you can see it just moving a little bit. As I am going up and down with the stick for the elevator, the surface is moving somewhat. These are very sensitive servos and a Hall effect sensors on the radio, so there's really no wasted movement. Every micro millimeter of movement translates on the stick translates into movement of the surface. So I've got to figure something out here because I don't want it flitting around too much. So, okay, ailerons, very fast, very precise. That's full throw. That's going to be way more than I need. I'll set it up on triple rates just to get the flying qualities that I want. And let's go to flaps. Flaps. You've seen those work before. These are now on a switch. And not controlled by the gyro, if you remember that last video. Now, what did I do today that was different? I already mentioned it. Boom, we have retracts. Pretty cool treaded tires, aren't they? There was a gun place, kind of an oddball thing I saw online, that somebody mentioned that there was a gun shop that was molding diamond tread pattern tires Even though it's not 100% scale accurate, I thought they looked cooler than the smooth tread, so I picked up a set for this thing, and it looks pretty cool. I'm gonna pause it. No, I'm not gonna pause it. I'll show you what I'm doing. This has a this is the air valve here, and I only have one line run to the piston controlling the retract. So when I go back, it releases pressure, but it doesn't pull the little cam back. So I've got to just push it by hand and then let it come down easily so it doesn't destroy this beautiful wing. Let's do it again. We'll go up. Nice. Let's see how much pressure those 2 cycles used. Where are we? Right there. What does that say? It says about 90. So it was set at 100 I had it pressured to 130 when I started. So I got a bunch of cycles out of this little air can. I don't really know much about air-controlled retracts, so somebody tell me if I should go with the larger one for this. But I don't know. It seems like I'm going to be able to get 4 or 5 cycles out of this small can. I don't mind filling it up after each flight. If I can save weight, I wouldn't mind keeping that. So anyway, guys, that's all I did today. I've got to run out to the hardware store tomorrow and pick up more of the mounting screws. They weren't in the bag. I'll figure that out. I'm going to have to do a little bit of clearancing because I hear the landing gear slightly scraping the edges here, and I don't want to break this. You can see it's really just very thin fiberglass with a layer of some kind of foam for stiffening, and it's a little bit on the brittle side. And I don't want to break it. I'd rather trim it back and do it that way. There is a lip here, so I do have quite a bit of room. I'd rather it fit correctly than look perfect. So I'd rather have it fit and work well. I don't want it binding. This is not a part of the plane that you see very often up close or in detail, so it kind of doesn't matter to me. All right, that's it. 7.5 minutes. That's long enough for me to drone on. All right, fellas. Do a little something RC. It's not going to build itself.